60 years ago, I came to the United States from India as a Fulbright scholar. I couldn't find any information. At that time, of course, Google was not available. There was no internet.
You're watching the Spotlight Network. Starring Hollywood's newsman, Logan Crawford.
They now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford. Streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're featuring a wonderful writer, a terrific doctor by the name of Dr. Medappa Chottepanda. He has penned a powerful book. It is called The World is Your Campus, a guide for international students. This must-read guide is packed with insider tips on applying to global programs, thriving in a new culture, and building a successful career abroad. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Prime 7 Media for helping us put him in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Doctor, thank you so much for joining me here today.
You're most welcome. It's my privilege.
It's a privilege to have you on the show. What inspired you to write this wonderful book?
Okay, Mr. Crawford, I was a student long time ago, about 60 years ago. I came to the United States from India as a Fulbright scholar. I couldn't find any information. At that time, of course, Google was not available. There was no internet. I had to really depend upon the third party telling something about America and American education system. So I really had a bad situation. I couldn't make some good decision making in our studies and courses and universities and all. Anyway, I managed. Then I went back home to India. Then after a year, came back as a graduate student to do my master's degree and PhD in economics for 7 years. Again, I was little prepared, not quite well. Then after 2 or 3 years, I got to know the whole system of education, which universities are best, which are the programs that are available, what kind of a cost and fee and we have to pay, where the living conditions, and what are the jobs and visa and everything. So I had trouble finding the way. So I thought at that time, I should write a book as a guide for all the students to come to the United States. But I was so busy in my education. Then I got my job. I used to work for the state of Minnesota as a director. Then I went to foreign countries, about 20 countries. I worked as an advisor and consultant. Then I retired. Then I spent my time to write this book.
Wonderful. Well, it's time well spent because it's an important book. It's going to help
I've done
a
lot of
people.
research work, lot of data, and whatever the data the students need available is in one-stop shop. So they don't have to worry any other source of data.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's a great resource. What are the biggest challenges international students face when they arrive in the United States or into a new country?
That's a very good question. I tell you, and many of the students who come to the United States from other developing countries particularly, they're not really know how the culture of the country, how the people live here, and what is the communication system. They don't have anything. So I think I advise them very strongly in my book also that any student who come to the United States for any country, they have a chance to choose a host family. In every university, there is a foreign students office. They match the students with the host families, American families, for example, and they can be like a second family, like a second parents in many cases, and they can spend their Christmas, they can spend their Thanksgiving, or their weekends with the parents. And that will serve a great deal of information, great deal of kind of a people, particularly those who come in their 20s, they really feel sick home, thinking, but these are the families, very good. I think that's something I strongly advise my students and the readers of my book to apply, to really sign up for those host family system. I think the second thing, I think many students do not know the soft skill. They are very good in engineering or mathematics or science. The soft skill is missing. How to adapt to the another society, how to get along with other people, how to work with the teams, for example. Those things are missing. I think I advise them to take some courses at the universities and get involved with the local families, friends. And that's the best language, best learning they can have, and they can use it when they get a job in either in the US or any other country, or they back home, they can use it.
Wonderful advice.
Yes.
Yeah.
More importantly, one more thing. Now, there was a survey done by the foreign students. There are 90% of the students who come to the United States, they say they learned the foreign education in the US is a catalyst for increased maturity. And 96% say they attained great deal of self-confidence. 90% says they developed soft skill like communication, interaction, adaptability, work in teams, language proficiency. Not only that one, there is a research survey done by British employers. 80% of the employees, they prefer to hire foreign educated students on the payroll. And it's a good for them, good for the, of course, candidates. They get good jobs.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a win-win, no doubt.
Exactly.
How can students better prepare before applying to international programs?
You know, Mr. Crawford, this is a really missing one. When I was a director of Department of Jobs and Training, I had about 100 staff members working for me. I had designated about 10 or 12 staff members to go to the every high school who are likely to graduate, tell them how to prepare for their education in colleges and universities. So they will tell them, we will also tell them what are the future jobs 10 years from now, what are jobs in high demand, what kind of skills they need, what kind of courses they have to take in universities. That is missing, and we have done a great job in Minnesota, for example. I tell you, one of the best, and we got an award for our publications also, I tell you. I'm very proud of that one. And that's something we have to appreciate. The third one, there are so many universities and all over the world. What I've done in my book, you can see, I have selected 12 countries, the top-notch countries with the best universities. The 12 countries account for 60% of the total students coming to foreign countries, 60%. In 2021, there were 6.4 million students traveled from their home country to other countries for education. Right now, I estimate there will be about 8 million students coming. They spend about $320 billion in foreign countries to go to school. So they have to prepare for, the students should have to prepare not only course of work, the universities, but also cost of education, and also more importantly, how to get admission and visa. Once they get the visa and admission, they can go travel, and also financial assistance. A lot of people like me, we are very, very poor people. There are a lot of people, they cannot make it. But there is a way, if they can manage to come to foreign country for about 1 or 2 quarters, and if they prove to be a good student, they can always find some part-time job at the universities or some kind of assistantship, working with the professor or teaching assistant. They're in great demand. So they can make up the education. And I have, in my lifetime here, I have offered maybe 10 students, and I signed up for the application in the bank loans. If a foreign student like me sign up, they will give the loan up to $60,000 to $65,000. So 10 students, they use them, they got the jobs, they got the visa. After the education, very importantly, many of the students, about 40% of the students coming to America, for example, they want to stay in America. And about 20% go to jobs in other countries. Another 40% go back to their country to set up a business, start up business, or become high-level officials in their countries. But those who stay in 40%, those in America, if they are good at school, they can get so-called H-1B visa. It's known as the employer-sponsored visa. They can stay up to 6 years. That is the best pathway to get a permanent residence known as green card. After green card, they have to stay another 5 years to become a citizen. So these are the 40% I say they are staying here today. As you know, almost 50% of the startup companies in America was founded by foreigners and their children. And about 25% of the foreign students who studied in the USA, for example, they are holding either CEO jobs or high-level jobs. For example, Microsoft, an Indian, the CEO, and Google is an Indian. I met that guy in Indian, Pichai. So there are so many people from other countries have become high level. So it is, as you said, it's a win-win, not only for the students, but also for the countries, the host countries, we call host countries. Like
Absolutely.
America.
The host countries are getting the best and the brightest from around the world and adding their strengths to the different nations where they study and then eventually work in many cases. How important is it for the students who are applying for international travel, international study, to build language skills in the native tongue of the language where they're going to be studying?
That's a good question. So some of the countries like India and other Far East Asian, they're not bad. Some of the countries coming, in Africa coming, they also good English. Some of the Far East Asian countries, particularly the China, China is #1 so far. From America, we get over 350,000 students from China every year.
Wow.
Only second is India. But their education, okay, but they have to come and take some English courses. Most of the universities, they have set up a special classes for those foreign students. And they can take classes. And that's very important. Communication is, as I said, the soft skill. Communication, including language proficiency, is lacking. They have to. There are availability, and they have to take care of that one to be a really productive workforce later. I think that's a big problem for many students. Yes. Absolutely.
Well, this book is a wonderful blueprint roadmap for students who look to further their education abroad.
Okay, this is the book.
Yep. It's a wonderful book. You did a masterful job with that. It is like an encyclopedia, one-stop shopping, like you said, everything you need to know about world travel if you're looking to study abroad. The name of the book is The World is Your Campus. It's more than just a book. It's a passport to success for students around the globe. Doctor, thank you so much for joining me here today.
You're most welcome. Very most welcome.
I appreciate your insight, your wisdom, and your passion for this subject matter. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time.
One more point I want to, before you end.
Sure.
I have my other book.
Okay.
It's a memoir. It's a triumph over adversity. This is about my life. Very
over adversity.
Very poor conditions. I know you are a producer of the movie. This can be a good book, as an inspiring book for many students who can become a successful citizen of the world. I think this book, maybe I'll be happy to send a copy to you.
Okay, wonderful. Well, lots of luck with that book, the book we've been talking about today. Doctor, thank you so much for joining me. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford. Until next time.
Okay.